My sister-in-law, now mute and bedridden, was entrusted to my care by my in-laws, who had decided to take a vacation in Hawaii. Just before departing, my husband Jack made it clear that taking care of her was my responsibility, emphasizing that I shouldn't slack off. As soon as Jack and his family left for their vacation, my sister-in-law, surprisingly, sat up and suggested that we get going too. My name is Lisa, and at 29, I had abandoned my teenage dream of becoming a pop star, realizing its fleeting nature. I ended up in my late 20s, dating Jack, whom I met through a friend, largely due to my mother's persistent desire to see her grandchild. Jack, despite having once aspired to enter the entertainment industry, now worked at a prestigious trading company in downtown Manhattan. After college, I had worked at a bank until I got married, at which point I quit my job. On a visit to Jack's parents' house, I learned about his younger sister Lucy, who, as a child, had contracted encephalitis from influenza, leaving her mute and bedridden due to brain damage. Lucy's mother had primarily cared for her, but surprisingly, Lucy and I got along well, communicating through sign language. Over time, I naturally picked up sign language, and our bond strengthened. Despite this, my mother-in-law, who was quite different from Lucy, was consistently sarcastic and critical of me. Jack and I lived in a condo about 30 minutes away, yet my mother-in-law would occasionally show up unannounced, nitpicking and issuing traditional instructions like keeping Jack's shoes clean and neatly folding laundry. She referred to Jack as Jackie and insisted on outdated practices, such as not going to bed before him, regardless of how late he got home. During our dating and early marriage days, Jack had always been kind and never disagreed with me, despite his mother's influence. Initially, Jack was incredibly considerate. If I mentioned feeling unwell and suggested having dinner outside, he readily agreed. Likewise, if I expressed interest in a designer bag, he would purchase it for me the following month. However, approximately a year into our marriage, Jack began to change, or perhaps reverted to his former self. He started coming home late from work, consistently smelling of alcohol. On weekends, Jack claimed increasing work responsibilities, making him too busy for family time. Oddly, even during visits to his parents' home, he would decline my invitations to join him. Frustrated, I decided to confront him about the growing distance between us. "Jack, you've become so distant lately. It feels like you're a completely different person," I expressed. Jack glared briefly before dismissing my concerns. "That's not true. You're overthinking things," he replied. Unconvinced, I pointed out that he rarely spoke to me anymore. He told me to stop bringing it up and walked away, ending the conversation abruptly. One Sunday, Jack surprised me by announcing he was going home. This was a departure from his usual refusal to have me accompany him on such visits. Eagerly, I offered to join him, expressing a desire to see Lucy as well. Jack's reaction was mixed, and he remarked on our seemingly close friendship. Despite his subtle grimace, I drove us to Jack's family home in Nebraska. Along the way, we stopped at a bakery to buy pastries as a gift. Jack's mother, who typically frowned at my presence, lit up upon receiving the pastries. When we arrived, she greeted us with a frown, as if displeased to see me. Undeterred, I handed her the pastries, and her expression changed like a child receiving a cherished toy. Curious about Jack's father, I inquired about him, learning he was out at a meeting. Jack's mother asked if I needed something, to which I replied that I didn't, just having something on my mind. He replied, "I hadn't heard anything about this from Jack. What's going on? Did you have something to tell your father?" I asked. Jack retorted, "It's none of your business." "What do you mean? We're a married couple, aren't we? Can you just stop nagging?" His mother chimed in, "Exactly. If Jack doesn't want to tell you something, you shouldn't be prying." Recognizing the futility of arguing, I chose not to respond. Just then, Jack's sister appeared. "Oh, Jack, you're here," she said. Jack seized the opportunity, saying, "Sis, perfect timing. I have something to discuss." She inquired, "What is it?" Jack proposed, I can take a long vacation next month. I was thinking about a family trip to Hawaii. How about you, sis? She replied, I'll pass. I don't have a passport. I was taken aback. Jack, usually busy with work, was suggesting a trip to Hawaii. Concerned, I asked, Jack, is everything all right with your job? His mother seemed displeased with my involvement and said, You shouldn't meddle with decisions Jack has made. You're really nosy, aren't you? Jack's mother then revealed the real reason for the meeting. I was to take care of Lucy during their vacation. Though momentarily surprised, I realized staying with Lucy was more appealing than going to Hawaii with my mother-in-law. I agreed to take care of Lucy, but I questioned why they had to bring me all the way there for such a discussion. Jack explained he expected resistance and wanted his mother to convince me forcefully if needed. Dumbfounded, I left the room to go to Lucy's room. Lucy was delighted to see me and asked how I'd been. When I explained Jack asked me to come along to their parents' house, Lucy remarked on Jack's change in behavior. Lucy suggested I stay over, and we had a great time chatting. An hour later, Jack came to get me, and we headed home. Lucy gave me a slight wink, hinting at a shocking truth and an even more shocking plan. A month later, on the day of the Hawaii trip, Jack and I went to his parents' house. Despite not going to Hawaii, I brought luggage to stay with Lucy for a week. As departure neared, the family insisted that taking care of Lucy was my job, and my mother-in-law added, Please get along well with Lucy. It's better for you to stay here, isn't it? If anything happens to Lucy, it's all your fault. Unfazed, I returned to Lucy's room. At that moment, Lucy sprang up energetically and called out, Come on, let's get going. This echoed a recent conversation where Lucy revealed she could walk and converse, a secret she had kept since last year. I suppose, why have you been hiding this from the rest of the family? Lucy began sharing an unexpected tale, saying, Actually, my father and mother are both remarried. I'm my dad's child from his previous marriage, and my sister and brother are from my mom's side. Surprised by this revelation, and considering the usual coldness from my mother-in-law towards Lucy, I couldn't help but think, I thought so. Is that so? Lucy confirmed, Yeah, my mom despises me. And I didn't want to talk to her, so I pretended that I couldn't. Curious about her father's knowledge, I asked, And your father? Lucy explained, Dad knows everything. He's always on my side. Understanding the situation, I said, I see. That's why, regarding this trip to Hawaii, I'm thinking we should go too. Perplexed, I asked, what do you mean? Lucy explained, I mean I'm planning to go to Hawaii on the same day with you. We'll even stay at the same resort. Her proposal caught me completely off guard, and I responded, What? I'd be thrilled to go to Hawaii with you, Lucy. But do you even have a passport? Confidently, Lucy revealed, Of course. I secretly got my passport last month. And don't worry about the expenses. My dad is covering our plane tickets and the resort, including yours. Excited about the unexpected turn of events, I said. I see. I'm really looking forward to this. That's how we ended up at the airport, Lucy and I, arriving in Hawaii early in the morning. My father-in-law, who had been supportive, was there to see us off. Expressing gratitude, I said, Thank you, father-in-law. I feel guilty for all the plane tickets and resort fees you've covered. He reassured me, saying, Don't worry about it. As long as you two have fun, I'm happy. After landing, we took a taxi from the airport and checked into the resort hotel. Lucy and I were sharing a room, and as we settled in, I mentioned to Lucy, Your father seems pretty well traveled. Lucy shared, Yeah, he's been on several international business trips. He's even been to Hawaii a few times. Planning a surprise for Jack and the family, Lucy said, So what's the plan? I'm guessing my mom and everyone will dine at the restaurant here tonight. I'm thinking of surprising them. Excited about the idea, I replied, That sounds like fun. I'm excited. Should we get some rest to recover from jet lag? Lucy agreed. That sounds like a good idea. Unable to sleep on the plane, We took a shower, climbed into bed, and quickly fell asleep. Waking up around late afternoon, Lucy was already awake and starting to wear makeup. Apologizing for sleeping too much, I reassured her, "No, don't worry about it. I just woke up too. We really had a good sleep, didn't we?" Fully recharged and ready for our battle. Around 7 o'clock, I suggested, "I'll go and check the restaurant." As I looked for Jack and his party, I found them dining joyfully from the shadows near the entrance. Venturing deeper into the restaurant, I spotted the back of a young woman I didn't recognize. This puzzled me, as there hadn't been such a woman when they left Jack's parents' house. Straining my ears, I could intermittently hear Jack and my mother-in-law's voices. "I'm glad it's not that woman today. Yeah, I really drew the short straw. She's tainted my family record. If only we had an elegant daughter like her from the start. I want to divorce her and start fresh soon. Try to find a reason for the divorce and extract hefty alimony from that woman. Even without a cause for the divorce, it's fine. I can fabricate as many as I want. She's so bad that I want to throw her in the trash. I want to see my grandchild from you and her." My mother-in-law was giving the woman a smile she had never shown me before. I was driven by the urge to step forward and see the woman's fate, but I held it in. I returned to my room and told Lucy that it took a while. "I'm sorry, I saw something shocking. Jack brought a woman that I've never seen before." "What?" I was about to scream. Jack and my mother-in-law were continuously bad-mouthing me, and Jack even said he would find a reason for divorce. That's terrible. Jack called me a bad catch, but seeing him with another woman, I felt relieved. Now I can divorce him outright. That's a good thing. Shall we make our entrance then? Lucy and I headed towards the restaurant hall. When we entered the restaurant, we requested to sit near Jack's table and were able to get a seat quite close to them. They didn't notice our arrival as we were sitting quite close. We could hear their conversation, which was still filled with derogatory comments about me. I was amazed and ended up giving a bitter smile at how they could badmouth me indefinitely. Seeing my face, Lucy gave a nod with a smile, a cue for us to begin our counterattack. I stood up from my seat, stepped forward towards Jack, and shouted, "Are you all having a good time?" I'll never forget the look on Jack and my mother-in-law's faces at that moment. Their mouths agape and eyes wide open, they froze for a few seconds. After a few seconds, my mother-in-law finally spoke. "Why are you here? And how did Lucy get here without a wheelchair?" At her words, Lucy stood up, gave my mother-in-law a smile, and said, "I don't need a wheelchair. Thanks to you, my body and speech have returned to normal. I must have caused you quite a bit of trouble for a long time. Lucy, when did you regain your ability to speak?" "I wonder when that was. Maybe last year." "Then why did you hide it until now?" "Because it was better if you guys continued to believe that I couldn't speak. You and Jack were speaking ill of me earlier, weren't you?" My mother-in-law's face turned pale in an instant. "What do you mean?" she asked. "Yeah, we weren't saying anything bad about you, Lisa," Jack retorted. "That won't work. I recorded everything on my phone. Do you want me to play it back right now?" I countered. My mother-in-law fell silent, but Jack stood up. "Lisa, you've been causing me trouble all this time, and now you're making these outrageous claims," he barked. Jack was the one making absurd claims, so I retaliated. "Once I return back home, I'll immediately contact my lawyer to initiate our divorce procedure. You can't deny the fact that you're on a vacation abroad with another woman. Plus, you described being with me as drawing a blank lottery ticket. So, I expect you to demonstrate sincerity by paying a hefty compensation for that comment," I declared. At my words, my mother-in-law seemed to acknowledge her defeat, and her attitude abruptly changed. "Lisa, dear, I really like you. Please try to get along with Jack. This woman is not involved with Jack," she pleaded. "I'm sorry, but I can't do that. Since I am a blank lottery ticket, I cannot live with Jack. Please enjoy your time with this woman. Oh, and I might also seek compensation from her." "Isn't that exciting?" I smirked. The woman in question turned pale and began to tremble upon hearing my words. Unfazed by the public gaze, Jack fell to his knees and pleaded, "Lisa, I beg you, don't make this a big deal." "My company has strict rules about this," he implored. "What's that?" "You don't sound sorry at all," I replied. Jack appeared taken aback, then tried again. "Lisa, I beg you, forgive me. If my company finds out, I'll lose my job," he confessed. "Though your place sounds better now, I will never forgive you. You are married, and yet here you are on an overseas trip with another woman," I said firmly. Upon hearing my words, my mother-in-law also fell to her knees next to Jack, pleading, "Please forgive my son," tears streaming down her face. By this time, all the other customers were watching us, and the restaurant manager started walking towards our table. Seeing this, I got up and said, "Well, Lucy and I will head back to our room. You all enjoy your Hawaiian vacation. I guess things will get a bit difficult when you get back home." Hearing this, Jack cried out at the top of his lungs, "Please forgive me. I can't afford to pay any compensation." At his loud outburst, the restaurant manager frowned, instructed something to a nearby staff member, and then briskly told Jack something. It was a polite way of telling him that he was disturbing the other guests and needed to leave. However, Jack was taken aback, not understanding the manager's words. Soon, 2 buffed-up security guards arrived and hauled Jack away. Jack was sobbing and struggling, but he was no match for the 2 bulky men. My mother-in-law and the woman were dumbfounded, unable to utter a word, while Lucy and I were also surprised by the turn of events. I thought Jack got what he deserved. A week later, Lucy and I returned home. Jack was quickly released and seemed to have returned to his room. However, I later heard that he had been in a state of shock since returning to his room and had kept to himself until the end of the trip. The day after I returned home, I went to the law firm where my old college friend worked to request a divorce proceeding. Unfortunately, my friend was not present, but a female lawyer was assigned to me, who was very easy to talk to. I was able to explain everything that had happened. After listening to my story, she'd assured me that a divorce was possible, that I could claim alimony, and that she would investigate the woman who was with Jack in Hawaii before determining whether I could claim alimony from her as well. A month later, the female lawyer contacted me and informed me that it had been proved that Jack had been dating the other woman for about 6 months. Hence, she said it was possible for me to demand alimony from this woman too. I requested the female lawyer, "Please squeeze as much alimony as you can from Jack and his woman." She smiled and nodded. 2 months later, I was officially divorced, and into my bank account was deposited the alimony from the 2. I mumbled as I saw the amount, and that's karma for calling me a blank lottery ticket. 3 months later, Jack and my mother-in-law suddenly visited my place. Despite it being only 3 months, they had lost a lot of weight and looked completely haggard. I asked them, "What do you want? I don't want to see your faces." Jack replied in a thin voice, "I'm sorry. Could you lend me some money? I've lost my job," and the woman ran away. "I don't even have money for food." My mother-in-law also spoke in a whisper. "I've divorced my husband too. I don't have money. Please, I beg you." My mother-in-law was in tears. I responded, "Too bad. I have absolutely no obligation to help you. And even if I did, I would never help you guys out. Now please leave." After they left, I sprinkled a large amount of salt at my entrance to get rid of bad energy from my house.